Chapter 60 Bibi Dong is shocked. Donger, please marry me, please vote. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The backyard of Zhou's mansion, afternoon. Zhou Yi set out a pot of wine and 2 glasses. As he opened the bottle, a rich aroma filled the air, instantly catching Bibi Dong's attention. Her beautiful eyes widened slightly. The wine poured into the glass was as clear and bright as the aroma promised, a sparkling amber hue. As the Wuhun Temple saint, Bibi Dong had tasted the finest wines, but Zhou Yi's brew intrigued her. The scent alone refreshed her mind and seemed to subtly accelerate her soul power. This was no ordinary wine. It's nothing extravagant, Zhou Yi said, but I've added some medicinal herbs, turning it into a medicinal wine. You won't find anything like it anywhere else. He picked up a glass and offered it to Bibi Dong. Does it have any special effects? She asked. Bibi Dong took the glass, inhaled deeply, and then took a sip. The aroma and a hint of wine spread through her mouth, her eyes lighting up. The taste was unique, there was an indescribable sensation. You'll find out soon enough. Zhou Yi replied. He grabbed his own glass, took a sip, and settled back in the rocking chair, swaying gently. Liu Erlong and Yin, sensing the moment, remained quiet, content to practice the 9-yin manual in their rooms. Bibi Dong frowned slightly, refraining from further questions as she slowly savored the wine, waiting to discover its secrets. Soon, a unique energy surged through her. She felt her soul power rising involuntarily, and then, she realized her soul power had actually increased. This wine can enhance soul power. Bibi Dong's eyes widened in surprise. Certain rare treasures could indeed boost soul power, but they were incredibly scarce. This was the first time she'd encountered a wine with such properties. That's right, Zhou Yi nodded, gesturing to the rocking chair beside him. Care to lie back and relax for a bit? Bibi Dong glanced at Zhou Yi's relaxed posture, then after a moment's hesitation, she settled into the adjacent rocking chair, folding her hands demurely over her stomach. She looked elegant and composed. Qian Sunji sent you to find out how I defeated Zhuoguan, didn't he? Zhou Yi asked casually. Yes, Bibi Dong replied softly, unfazed that Zhou Yi could discern her true purpose. In her mind, Zhou Yi was wise. I won't pry into your secrets, she added. It's not really a secret at all, Zhou Yi replied. He had nothing to hide. Might as well tell you, he said. He turned onto his side in the rocking chair, gazing at Bibi Dong's beautiful profile and graceful figure. The reason I defeated Yuguan with a single punch is that I've been practicing martial arts magic. Martial arts magic? Bibi Dong turned, her eyes filled with curiosity and doubt. That's right. Martial arts is my own creation. It's similar to the Soul Master system, like the 13 deadly swordsmen I invented earlier. It's what you might call martial arts. Martial arts can be divided into internal Jinqi training and external body training. Jinqi is similar to soul power. I was able to defeat Zhuoguan because I've mastered a magical golden bell cover, which allows me to train both internally and externally, and I've reached a very high level. My physical strength alone is on par with a title Douluo. Bibi Dong listened intently, her eyes fixed on Zhou Yi as he eloquently described his martial arts. Her eyes sparkled with interest. Even reclining in the rocking chair, Zhou Yi exuded an irresistible charm. Time slipped away. Zhou Yi basked in the sun, sipping wine and speaking in a relaxed manner, as if narrating a story to an eager girl. Bibi Dong listened, occasionally sipping her wine. As the afternoon drew to a close, her soul power had actually increased by a level. Of course, her increase in soul power was secondary to her interest in Zhou Yi's martial arts. The sun began to set. The setting sun painted the sky with streaks of red. Zhou Yi stood, stretched, and sighed. Another fulfilling afternoon. You call this fulfilling? Bibi Dong was slightly confused. She hadn't done anything all afternoon. Was it his companionship that made him feel fulfilled? The thought caused her heart to skip a beat. Zhou Yi turned and gazed at Bibi Dong's pretty face until she lowered her head shyly. Then he smiled. Beautiful woman, fine wine, perfect weather, youth in its prime, and a half-day of leisure. It's one of life's greatest pleasures. Happiness is a day, sadness is a day, busyness is a day, relaxation is a day. This is the most comfortable way to live. But not everyone can live like this. Bibi Dong paused, considering the truth in his words. It wasn't easy to relax like Zhou Yi, eating, drinking, and enjoying life, fame and fortune, politics. It wasn't easy to be happy and relaxed all day long. Focusing her thoughts, Bibi Dong toyed with the celadone wine glass in her hands and looked up at Zhou Yi. This wine of yours can enhance soul power, so its appeal to soul masters is immense. When the major powers find out, they'll stop at nothing to get the formula. And what about your martial arts? Tell me, aren't you worried that I'll tell my teacher, and he'll come after you? Bibi Dong stared intently into Zhou Yi's eyes. Zhou Yi walked closer, their faces less than 4 inches apart. She could feel his breath on her skin. Donger, I trust you, Zhou Yi said softly. In reality, he didn't fear Qian Daoliu at all. Boom, Bibi Dong's body trembled, her heart racing, confused, at a loss. She couldn't meet his gaze and look down, but at that moment, a large hand gently cupped her chin and lifted her head. Bibi Dong shivered slightly, her long eyelashes fluttering as she looked back into Zhou Yi's eyes. Donger, you're so beautiful, Zhou Yi said softly. Bibi Dong closed her eyes. Zhou Yi gazed at her soft lips, lowered his head, and kissed her deeply. A woman in love is easy to deal with. He hadn't had the strength to pursue Bibi Dong, afraid of endangering himself and allowing Qian Daoliu to take advantage of her, but things were different now. The 12 golden bells gave Zhou Yi confidence. What's more, after the second child is born, there will be a guaranteed reward of at least 10 years of cultivation. 10 years of cultivation, it's enough to make Zhou Yi's realm skyrocket, and it's not impossible to jump to a title Douluo at that time. His strength will leap forward again. What's more, it's not just Liu Erlong. Yin is also pregnant, not a year, at most 10 months. He took off again. Zhou Yi kissed Bibi Dong to his heart's content. Slowly, Zhou Yi pulled Bibi Dong down onto the rocking chair. Zhou Yi exclaimed, head snapping back, bitten by Bibi Dong. No. Stop, Bibi Dong grabbed Zhou Yi's hand, her face flushed. Donger, marry me. Zhou Yi gazed into Bibi Dong's eyes and said softly, don't worry, I'll go to Wuhuan Hall tomorrow to propose. I promise I'll convince Qian Daoliu. Let's wait until you're a title Douluo. Bibi Dong couldn't meet his eyes. She pushed him away, smoothed her clothes, and ran away. She was completely overwhelmed. It's a deal. I'll marry you when I become a title Douluo. Zhou Yi called after her. Bibi Dong paused, then ran even faster. Title Douluo. Should take a year, tops. Zhou Yi shook his head, surprised the opportunity had passed. Maybe it's because of Erlong and Yin, Zhou Yi reasoned. He didn't seem too worried. She couldn't get away anyway. A year would pass quickly. Women, you just say things you don't mean. Zhou Yi raised his hand and examined it, shaking his head slightly, saying no. But the body is very honest. It's not a loss today. Zhou Yi washed his hands, hummed a tune, and went to find Erlong and the others. Chapter 61 Madam Ning Zhongze. Liu Erlong gave birth. Please vote for me, please recommend me. You are listening at novelfull.audio. May 15th. Today's the big day for the Seven Treasures Glazed Sect. Sword Douluo Qinshin's officially making sect protector Douluo. I got an invite. Bibi Dong rolled up with Yueguan, the ghost, and me to rep the Wuhun Palace. Lately, Bibi Dong's been showing up at my place every day, and yeah, I tease her a lot, but she's holding on to her last shred of resistance. Thing is, she's really starting to take my advice to heart these days. Only catch. Maybe it's because of Liu Erlong and the other women, but she's sticking to her guns about waiting until I'm a title Douluo. I'm not pushing it. Meanwhile, I'm feeding Qian Daoliu some harmless info through her, just to throw him off, and he's eating it up. Thinks Bibi Dong's the greatest thing since sliced bread. Mr. Zhou. Right this way, Mr. Zhou. As soon as I showed up, all eyes were on me. Let's face it, I made a splash by basically walking all over Yuguan, who doesn't know me at this point. Even though Zhu Douluo Yuguan was giving me the stink eye, and no one dared bring up the whole Zhou Yi kicked Yuguan's butt incident, they still made sure to show me a lot of love. Being Chen Xian's mentor gives me some serious clout around here. I grinned and nodded to everyone. but the real surprise was finding out Ning Fengji's wife is named Ning Zhongze, and her spirit is the Jade Girl's sword. Seriously, when I heard her name, I almost thought I was having some kind of martial arts crossover moment. Gotta say, Mrs. Ning is stunning. Skin like porcelain, bright eyes, perfect smile, and a killer figure, but with this warrior vibe going on too. And Ning Fengji? He's got that handsome, refined look down pat, with the impeccable white robes. They look great together. Still, I picked up on some weird tension between them. Asterisk in the original story, Ning Fengji and Ning Rongrong never even mention Mrs. Ning. There's gotta be a story there. Asterisk. Ning Fengji gives me some serious Yubuchuan vibes. Zhong Yori, even though your teacher here is young, he's a master swordsman. If you can get a few pointers from him, it'll do you a world of good. Chen Xian was talking to Ning Zhongze. She's an orphan the Qibao glazed sect took in when she was a kid, hence the Ning name. She's crazy talented, and since she's an offensive soul master, they hooked her up with Ning Fengji, and because of her Jade Girl sword, she's basically Chen Xian's protege too. Mr. Zhou, it's an honor. I've heard so much about you. Meeting you is truly a dream come true. Ning Zhong gave me this graceful bow, totally showing that same respect and admiration everyone else has for me. She hears Chen Xian gabbing about his mentor Zhou Yi all the time. Sister-in-law, you're too kind. I flashed a smile. If you're up for it, I'd be happy to spar with you. Ning Zhong looked floored, didn't expect that offer out of nowhere. Well, don't just stand there, thank your teacher. Chen Xian chimed in. Thank you, sir. Ning Zhong quickly replied. Teacher, why don't you let Nikaze show you to the training grounds in the back? Chen Xian suggested. Sounds good to me. I shrugged. Since Chen Xian offered, why not give Ning Zhongze some pointers? Besides, I'm digging that name, and I'm not really feeling the whole schmooze with everyone thing right now. Spending some quiet time in the back with Ning Zhongze? Not the worst idea. This way, sir. Ning Zhong led me to the backyard. We didn't have a ton of time, so I just showed Ning Zhongze a move for breaking sword defenses. Thank you, sir. Ning Zhong looked surprised and grateful. No problem, sister-in-law. I've already taught Chen Xian the whole Dugan 9 swords. If you're interested, he can teach you later. I waved it off, then looked at her delicate face and blurted out, I'm pretty good with medicine, and you seem a little down. If that keeps up, it could affect your health. Not even lying, it's the truth. No wonder Ning Zhongze doesn't show up in the original story. Sounds like a tragic ending. She probably dies young. Mr. Zhou, you really know your stuff. I'll definitely keep an eye on it. Ning Zhong's expression changed a bit, and she clearly didn't want to get into it. I didn't push, but I had a pretty good guess. It's probably something to do with Ning Fengji. In the original story, Ning Fengji and Ning Rongrong never even mentioned Ning Zhongze. I bet Ning Fengji doesn't really care for her. He probably only married Ning Zhong because of pressure from his folks. I'm just an outsider, so I can't say much, but if I get the chance, I'll help if I can. It's a shame to see such a beauty go to waste, just like Ning Zhongze in Swordsman. Such a shame. Since it was getting late, I stayed at the Qibao glazed sect for the night. Around 3 a.m, I quietly snuck out of my room and into another woman's room. Hold on, not Ning Zhongze, I'm too upstanding to do something like that underhanded. Ah, what are you doing here? Tang Yuehua nearly screamed when she saw me climbing into her bed. She quickly covered her mouth and glared at me. Of course, she came today. She came with Tang Hao and Tang Xiao. I missed you. I wrapped my arms around Tang Yuehua's soft body, leaned in, and kissed her. No, if someone finds out, An hour later. Satisfied now, Tang Yuehua's face was flushed, her eyes all glazed over, and she snapped, now get out of here before someone sees you. We're at the Qibao glazed sect. After all, if we got caught, she'd be ruined. Don't worry, no one will find out. I grinned, completely confident in my skills. I'm staying with you a little longer. I lowered my head and kissed Tang Yuehua's cheek. She didn't say anything, just leaned against me, feeling safe and happy. Until it was almost dawn, I finally slipped out. Afternoon rolled around, I said my goodbyes to Ning Fengji, Qian, Ning Zhongze, and the others, then headed back to Zhou Mansion. The next few days were chill. Li Shishir and Li Baishir came to visit. With 4 pregnant women in the house, I pretty much stayed home. Honey, now that we each have one, how about you marry another one? One day, Liu Erlong popped the question. Serving me is tough enough for them now, I'm a lot to handle. After all, Li Shishir, and Li Baishir all agreed, so I went along with it. July 15th. I married Xiao Wu. Damn it. Zhou Yi's getting married again. Zhou Yi never seemed like a player before. He was still single in his 20s. What gives with this explosion of relationships since marrying Liu Erlong? It's probably that crazy mutated spirit of his, the dragon sword, the dragon, you know how dragons get. That's the key to understanding it. Actually, it makes sense. Before, Mr. Zhou was just focused on cultivation and didn't know how great women were. Mrs. Liu showed him the ropes and now he can't get enough. That the town was buzzing. Bibi Dong, representing Wuhun Palace, sent a gift, but she was feeling all empty inside, and a bit regretful. Maybe she should have said yes. If she insisted on waiting until I hit title Douluo status, where would that leave her? But she couldn't bring herself to say anything. She just couldn't shake that regret. Now, all she can do is hope I reach title Douluo status soon. Tang Hao, Tang Xiao, and Tang Yuehua showed up too. Ning Fengji from the Qibao glazed sect also came, bringing his wife Ning Zhongze. You could almost call Ning Zhongze my protege. There was no way she was missing this. 00 a.m., Xiao Wu had already drifted off. At the inn, Tang Xiao and Tang Hao suddenly woke up, ears perked, brows furrowed. This is a depressing place. We shouldn't have brought Yuehua here. Tang Hao clenched his fists, feeling sick inside when he faintly heard Tang Yuehua crying. Yuehua wanted to come herself, we couldn't stop her. Tang Xiao sighed. I've been good to Tang Yuehua. If I'm getting married, there's no way she'd stay home, but she comes every time, can't sleep, and cries all night. We're taking Yuehua back tomorrow. Neither of them could sleep, so they stood guard at the door, listening to Tang Yuehua desperately trying to stifle her sobs. It tore them up. Finally, Tang Xiao couldn't take it anymore. Yuehua, we know you're hurting. If you want to cry, just cry. Or do you want to leave right now? I'm fine. Time flew by. Before we knew it, another year had gone by. January 15th. Today was the day. I was pacing back and forth at the door, heart in my throat, as Erlong's painful screams echoed from inside. The baby's coming. Push harder. Today's a big day. Liu Erlong's about to give birth. I'm finally going to be a dad. I was losing it. My heart was doing somersaults. I was nervous, excited, hyped, all the emotions. Almost there. Push, ma'am, push. Arg. The midwife and Liu Erlong's cries kept coming, driving me crazy. Then, 2 loud cries pierced the air. Wah! Wah! It's happening. Congratulations, ma'am. Congratulations, sir. It's a twin, a boy and a girl. Chapter 62, Big Explosion of Rewards. Title Douluo on the spot. I am the Martial Dao Ancestor, please. You are listening at novelfull.audio. It's happening. Sir, I'm thrilled to announce my wife just had twins. Po One, beaming, came to share the good news with Zhou Yi. Awesome. Fantastic. Wonderful. 100 gold soul coins for everyone involved. Zhou Yi was ecstatic. He hadn't expected Erlong to deliver a perfect set of twins. He waved his hand, generous with his reward. Thank you, sir. Bless you, sir. Po Wen's grin stretched from ear to ear. A gold soul coin. Folks like her usually dealt in copper. 1 gold coin equaled 10 silver or 100 copper coins, so 100 gold coins were 10,000 copper. But for Zhou Yi, it was pocket change. With his boosted strength, his business was exploding. He'd had to keep a low profile before. When he was weak, even if he knew how to make money, he couldn't risk accumulating too much. Without power, you couldn't protect your wealth. Now, of course, he had no such worries. His industries were booming, and Zhou Yi was swimming in cash. Ignoring Po Wen's excitement, Zhou Yi went to the bedside, took Erlong's small, soft hand, and channeled gentle waves of holy heart energy. Erlong, you were incredible. Honey, a blush rose on Liu Erlong's sweaty face, a mix of happiness and gratitude washing over her. Zhou Yi walked in and immediately showed concern for her, not the babies. It touched her deeply. Sweetheart, show me the little ones. Sure. Zhou Yi took the 2 babies from the maid, nestled them next to Liu Erlong, and said softly. A boy and a girl, a perfect match. How about Yulong for the boy and Yufeng for the girl? That it was a plus that Liu Erlong also had the character for dragon in her name. Zhou Yi figured he'd have many children in the future, so he'd combine their names with the mother's name. It would be easier to remember them all that way. Yulong, Yufeng, perfect. Liu Erlong murmured the names, clearly delighted, a bright smile spreading across her cheeks as she gazed at the twins, radiating maternal love. Congrats, sis. Congrats, honey. Ayin, Li Shishir, Li Baishir, and Xiao Wu arrived together, the first few heavily pregnant, especially Ayin, who was about to pop any minute. Li Shishir and Li Baishir were there for support. Xiao Wu, though, was still showing no signs of pregnancy. If it weren't for the transformation pill from the system, Zhou Yi would suspect the pill was defective. The transformation pill could completely change a soul beast into a human, fooling even the gods. Zhou Yi had carefully checked Xiao Wu countless times, confirming she was fine, so he wasn't overly concerned. With persistence, she'd get there eventually. Thanks, ladies. Liu Erlong practiced the 9-yin manual and drank all sorts of tonics every day. Zhou Yi also used his holy heart qi to boost and nurture her. As a result, she was recovering well, especially now, after the holy heart qi Zhou Yi had just given her. Liu Erlong was already bouncing back. After a bit of catching up, Zhou Yi ushered everyone out so Liu Erlong could rest. 9 months, while Zhou Yi hadn't been training hard, his cultivation had still reached level 66 of the Soul Emperor, and he'd gotten a 90,000-year soul ring. It came from the 3 Qianjun ant brothers. He still had the remaining 2 pinned underground in the backyard. Zhou Yi went to the backyard to check the rewards he'd earned this time. Ding! Congratulations, host, for achieving the giving birth milestone. First time bonus is super boosted. Knew it. Always a super boost on the first go around. Zhou Yi was thrilled, his expectations high. Reward 1, 20 years of cultivation. Reward 2, 20 years of lifespan. Reward 3, double cultivation speed for family members, including wives and lovers. Reward 4, 100,000-year soul ring, random soul skill. Reward 5, soul ring upgrade card, can upgrade any soul ring to 100,000 years. Reward 6, martial god domain, suppress enemies and improve yourself. Within the domain, I am the god of martial arts, unaffected by the rules of the universe. Whoa! Seeing the 6 rewards, Zhou Yi's heart skipped a beat. The first 2, 20 years of cultivation and lifespan, were the basics because Erlong had given birth to twins. The third reward, doubling the cultivation speed of family members, meant that when Zhou Yi's kids grew up, he could just sit back and relax. After all, future generations could boost him through their cultivation, and this reward included his women. They'd already received a double speed boost before, and now it was doubled again. Liu Erlong and Ayin would train faster and not fall too far behind him, not to mention the 4th and 5th soul ring rewards. The 6th, the martial god domain, was even more incredible, though obviously not a guaranteed win. If the gap in cultivation was too big, others could break through the martial god domain. The part about not being affected by the rules of the universe meant that when practicing martial arts, you no longer needed to be limited by the soul ring. Even if you trained in martial arts in Douluo continent, you still had to get a soul ring every 10 levels to keep improving. But with the martial god realm, within that area, Zhou Yi and even others could continue to train and improve even without soul rings. Zhou Yi received his 20-year lifespan first, and his whole body seemed to surge with new life and energy. Claim the martial god realm. Boom. A mysterious feeling surged into his heart, and Zhou Yi's aura shifted. Anyone nearby would have been shocked. Zhou Yi's appearance hadn't changed, but the impression he gave was completely different. At first glance, he looked like a majestic mountain, exuding immeasurable power and strength. After a quarter of an hour, Zhou Yi had fully controlled the martial god realm and contained its power. Zhou Yi returned to his noble and otherworldly appearance. Now for the main event. Receive 20 years of cultivation. As soon as the thought struck, a vast and majestic energy, like the Yangtze River, flooded into Zhou Yi's body, and the sacred heart art, which had been raised to perfection, ran wildly. Zhou Yi's cultivation base soared, level 70, level 75, level 80, level 85, with the existence of the martial god realm. Zhou Yi didn't need to add soul rings every 10 levels to improve, so his progress was unrestricted. Of course, Zhou Yi could still add soul rings later. One more soul ring and one more skill were always good. 20 years of cultivation. It allowed Zhou Yi's cultivation to skyrocket, directly reaching level 97. A full improvement of 31 levels. But the further you went, the harder it became to improve. Zhou Yi felt that at least 15 years of cultivation had been spent after level 90. Whoa! That the two 90,000-year-old ants pinned underground shuddered in fear under Zhou Yi's power. Terrifying. How could there be such a terrifying two-legged beast? Don't be afraid, I'll send you to join your brothers now. Zhou Yi looked at the two ants and killed them with a wave of his hand. 2 soul rings condensed out. Zhou Yi absorbed them. As a result, the soul power was still at level 97. Too weak. No, I'm too strong. The quality of the holy heart chi is off the charts. Zhou Yi shook his head. The holy heart chi cultivated through the perfection of the sacred heart Ju was terrifying. The cultivation level was obtained by refining the soul rings of two 90,000-year-old soul beasts. It was like a drop in the bucket. Zhou Yi didn't mind, he hadn't been counting on them, anyway. There happens to be a slot for 1 soul ring. I wonder what skills come with this reward of 100,000-year soul ring. Zhou Yi received the 100,000-year soul ring as his 9th soul ring. After fusion, Zhou Yi got the soul skill, returning to the sect of 10,000 swords. Awesome! Zhou Yi discovered that this soul skill could not only be used by himself but could also be copied and taught as a martial skill to others. This was way better than the soul skills obtained from the soul rings of soul beasts. The soul skills attached to the soul ring of a soul beast were unique and bound to the soul ring. No one else could use it. As for the final soul ring upgrade card, Zhou Yi used it on his first soul ring. Flashes of super evolution, shadow clone. Host, Zhou Yi, age, 23. Cultivation, title Douluo, level 97, Wuhuan, dragon sword, kung fu, sacred heart technique, perfection, golden bell cover, 12 levels of perfection, soul skills, shadow clone, 100,000 years, close to the end of the world, 1,001 years, gravity field, 4,000 years, roar of tigers and roar of dragons, 15,000 years, dark demon evil thunder, 65,000 years, kill the earth and king, 90,000 years, Shenlong's true form, 90,000 years, Thousand June barrier, 95,000 years, 10,000 swords returning to the sect, 100,000 years, skills, opening the heavenly gate with 1 sword, perfection, grandmaster medical skills, perfection, 1 finger of Ling Shi, perfection, intentional immortal steps, perfection, heavenly palace phantom success, 1662/5000, shocking tribulation perfection, 11100, Lingbo microsteps, 156/5000, soul bone, wind and thunder wings, external attachment, special, wheel turning technique, backpack, eternal heart, for absolutes of the sacred heart. For tribulations of the sacred heart, 7 impossible realms, Nahai sacred heart curse, 9 yin manual, Lingshuang sword, 1 yang finger, experience value, 626. Finally, the title of Douluo, that there was a sparkle in Zhou Yi's eyes. While he was strong before, even having defeated Juhua Pass, he wasn't as intimidating and influential as a title Douluo. Because the name title Douluo was deeply respected by everyone, now, he was one too. When he announced it to the world and held a title Douluo celebration, the appearance of the 9 soul rings would blow the minds of many soul masters. Ever heard of a 23-year-old level 97? Then, he'd use this momentum to tell the world that his achievements were all due to his martial arts training. He'd establish a martial arts sect, become an ancestor, recruit tons of disciples, spread martial arts, and gather the divine status. He was the ancestor of martial arts. Chapter 63, titled Martial God, Shocking Qian Daoliu for 100 Years, Bibi Dong is Shy, Please V. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Zhou Yi's power exploded. The aura radiating from a level 97 title Douluo was enough to make every soul master in Notting City take notice. Chen Xian, Yishaojiang, Flanders, and others rushed to the Zhou residence. The sight that greeted them stunned them into silence. 9 dazzling soul rings circling Zhou Yi, 2 of them a shocking crimson. He's a title Douluo. Chen Xian stammered. And are those 100,000-year soul rings? Yishaojiang whispered, aghast. Or even 200,000-year soul rings? Flanders exclaimed. Am I seeing things? That they were dumbstruck, jaws hanging open. It was unbelievable. Yes, Zhou Yi was strong, but just a year ago, he was only a great soul master. Now he'd jumped straight to title Douluo. And somehow snagged 200,000-year soul rings. Incredible, unfathomable. What's more, among Zhou Yi's 9 soul rings, he had 200,000-year rings, 2,000-year rings, and the rest were 10,000-year rings. This combination completely shattered their understanding of how things worked, but then again, considering Zhou Yi's talent, maybe it wasn't so strange after all. Yu Shaojiang couldn't help but cringe, thinking about the supposed core strengths of the top 10 martial souls he had theorized. They were full of holes compared to what Zhou Yi had accomplished. Congratulations, teacher. Chen Xian said quickly. Congratulations, teacher. Yu Shaojiang echoed. Flanders snapped out of it and said respectfully, congratulations to His Majesty, the title Douluo. No need for formalities, Zhou Yi said with a wave of his hand. He tested his newfound power, then dismissed his martial soul and soul rings. He seemed even more refined and otherworldly. Teacher, what title do you plan to use? Yu Shaojiang asked. Title Douluos generally chose a title based on their martial soul or special abilities. For example, Chen Xian was known as Sword Douluo because his martial soul was a sword. Zhou Yi's martial soul was also a sword, so he could call himself Sword Douluo, but that would overlap with Chen Xian's title. He could also use something inspired by his martial soul, like Dragon Douluo, for instance. Title? Zhou Yi mused. How about God of War? God of War. Chen Xian, Yishaojiang, and the others paused, and then immediately thought of the martial arts Zhou Yi had created. Actually, Martial God Douluo did sound pretty fitting. Plus, by using the God of War title, Zhou Yi was clearly planning to promote his martial arts. Chen Xian and Yu Shaojiang both understood. Zhou Yi wanted to establish a sect, spread his martial arts, and have people everywhere practice to strengthen themselves. Yu Shaojiang had been busy acquiring land in different locations, preparing to build martial arts academies. Of course, popularizing martial arts wouldn't happen overnight. People in the Douluo world didn't have a strong understanding of meridians and acupoints. Therefore, Zhou Yi planned to use a set of external training methods as a preliminary screening process. He was still refining this set of boxing techniques. He called it Ancestral Fist. His idea was that these techniques could cultivate true energy from the outside in. It would only produce a trace of true energy, but it would still significantly increase strength. Someone who learned the basics could take on dozens of ordinary people. This boxing technique would be taught freely to everyone. Those who could cultivate a trace of Jinqi could then join the martial arts academy. It wouldn't be easy to spread the practice. First, he'd have to get a few people trained, then send those people out across the Douluo continent to teach. Once the ancestral fist techniques had become widespread, recruiting for Zhou Yi's martial arts academy would be easy. Outstanding disciples in the academy would have the opportunity to become his direct students. The true core techniques would be reserved for his inner circle. To promote Ancestral Fist, Zhou Yi was also planning to work with the Tiando Empire and the Star Luo Empire. The Spirit Hall controlled the largest number of soul masters on the continent. It was unlikely they'd want to promote his martial arts. But the Tiando and Star Luo empires had the largest mortal armies, and Ancestral Fist could skyrocket their military might. They'd definitely be interested, but those plans were for later. Zhou Yi instructed Yu Shaojiang and the others to send out invitations far and wide. They would hold a title Douluo celebration in 1 month. Yu Shaojiang and company left with excitement, ready to get to work. Soon, the news of Zhou Yi's ascension to title Douluo spread like wildfire across the Douluo continent, shaking the entire land. What? Zhou Yi became a titled Douluo? Are you kidding me? No way. Absolutely impossible. Yeah, Zhou Yi's strong, but becoming a titled Douluo isn't exactly a walk in the park. Even if his martial soul mutated into some super weapon, there's no way he could reach titled Douluo that fast. A year ago, Zhou Yi was stuck at level 29. After marrying Liu Erlong, his martial soul mutated and he broke through to Soul Master. How could he possibly become a titled Douluo in less than a year? I find it hard to believe too, but it's legit. It's all over town. Zhou Yi sent out invitations and is throwing a party on February 15th. You think he could fake something like that? Damn it. What's Zhou Yi been taking? How could he jump from Soul Lord to titled Douluo in less than a year? I heard Zhou Yi has 200,000-year soul rings. Maybe that has something to do with it. I heard it was because Zhou Yi's martial arts were so powerful, his cultivation skyrocketed. They're calling him the God of War. God of War? What's this martial art, anyway? Is it really that good? Only one way to find out, right? Yeah. And I've never seen 100,000-year soul ring, so I gotta go for the sightseeing alone. This will be a once-in-a-lifetime event for the Soul Master world. I hear all the big players will be there, the Spirit Hall, Tiando Empire, Star Luo Empire, Haotian Sect, Seven Treasure Glaze Tile Sect, Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon Clan, the whole shebang. Missing this would be a huge mistake. Let's go right now. Countless soul masters were buzzing with excitement, making their way to Nodding City. Meanwhile, at the Spirit Hall, Zhou Yi reached title Douluo. And he has 200,000-year soul rings. Qian Xuanji was in disbelief when he heard the news. Absurd, even as Pope of the Spirit Hall, he didn't have 100,000-year soul ring. Even if Zhou Yi got lucky and found 200,000-year spirit beasts, how could he possibly advance from Soul Lord to title Douluo in less than a year? He had never heard anything so exaggerated, but the news was being confirmed by too many people. It had to be true. He was forced to believe it. What is Zhou Yi hiding? Is his martial art that powerful? Qian Xuanji frowned and headed for the Hall of Elders. Father, Qian Xuanji bowed to a man in the hall. This man looked to be in his late 30s or early 40s, handsome, with a faint smile on his face. He was tall but not overly muscular. He wore simple gray robes and his long black hair was neatly combed. Despite his simple attire, his presence commanded respect. This was the Spirit Hall's anchor, Qian Xuanji's father, the Spirit Hall's Grand Elder, the level 99 limit Douluo, Qian Daoliu, known as the Invincible Sky. What is it? Qian Daoliu saw the look on Qian Xuanji's face and knew something was up, but he hadn't yet heard the news about Zhou Yi. Father, Zhou Yi, who defeated Elder Zhu before, has advanced to title Douluo. What? Qian Daoliu raised an eyebrow. Wasn't he just a soul lord? Less than a year ago, right? Yes. Qian Xuanji related the details about Zhou Yi. Qian Daoliu, who was usually impassive, became thoughtful, his brow furrowing. 200,000-year soul rings, one of which was his first soul ring. And he reached title Douluo in less than a year. Could this be related to the gods? The only explanation Qian Daoliu could think of was a connection to the divine realm. Don't provoke him for now. I'll go and meet this rising star. Qian Daoliu muttered. Yes, father. Qian Xuanji respectfully retreated. Across town, dressed in white, the graceful Bibi Dong had also received the news of Zhou Yi's advancement to title Douluo. Oh my god, so fast. Shock filled Bibi Dong's beautiful eyes. She remembered Zhou Yi's promise to marry her when he reached title Douluo, and a blush crept onto her fair cheeks. Her heart began to pound. She felt nervous, hopeful, agitated, happy. Chapter 64. The 99th level Peerless Douluo arrives and blinds everyone. Please vote. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Tiando City, Yuexian, Tang Yuehua, Yueshuan's elegant owner, dressed in snow white, her green hair flowing, stood on the fifth-floor balcony, gazing into the distance. The recent news she'd received kept swirling in her mind. How did he get so strong, so fast? A title Douluo, just like that. Zhou Yi would check in with her from time to time. She knew him better than most. She was aware his cultivation was progressing rapidly. Last time he visited, he was a sole emperor, right here. She gripped the railing, almost broke it, but that was only a month ago. Zhou Yi went from sole emperor to title Douluo in under a month. Then again, considering Zhou Yi was already stronger and fiercer than most title Douluo, she thought, maybe it wasn't that surprising. His power was already there, he just needed to catch up in terms of cultivation. If Tang Yuehua was shocked, Tang Hao and Tang Xiao of the Haotian sect were even more so. They used to be far ahead of Zhou Yi in terms of power, but in less than a year, he'd surpassed them by leaps and bounds. They were confident they would become title Douluo someday, but they were nowhere near there yet. The shockwaves from Zhou Yi's rise were far-reaching. Even Tang Chen, Tang Hao's grandfather and the elusive leader of the Haotian sect, who hadn't been seen in ages, made an appearance. Father, Tang Ao was both surprised and delighted to see him. Tell me everything about the Book of Changes, Tang Chen said, getting straight to the point. He was at level 99, searching for relics of the gods and a way to become one himself. He planned to head overseas with Qian Daoliu soon. Then he heard the news about Zhou Yi, a title Douluo in less than a year, with his first soul ring being 100,000 years old. It sounded impossible. But after confirming the information, Tang Chen had a strong feeling the Book of Changes was tied to the gods. Either he was favored by them, or he'd found a divine treasure or inheritance. Either way, it likely had something to do with the divine realm. If that was the case, he might be able to learn how to become a god through the Book of Changes. But to be prepared, Tang Chen went back to the Haotian sect to learn more about Zhou Yi. He heard that Zhou Yi had rescued his granddaughter, Tang Yuehua, from a flower picker and helped transform her martial soul. Tang Chen's opinion of Zhou Yi improved dramatically. After learning more, Tang Chen told Tang Ao, I'll be staying at the Haotian sect for now. Ask me anything you need help with. I'll go see him later too. Yes, father. Tang Ao was overjoyed. Even as a title Douluo, he was still leagues behind Tang Chen, whose guidance would be invaluable. Days turned into weeks. Nodding City was bursting with activity. This time, the shock of Zhou Yi becoming a title Douluo was even greater than when he took Sword Douluo as his apprentice. The city was packed. Nodding City had more than doubled in size. The original city was now the inner city, with second and third rings added outside. Zhou Yi had also invested heavily in building countless hotels and a massive Huayuan. He was raking in money hand over fist. Huayuan was built on Nodding Lake, a few miles outside the city, and could accommodate tens of thousands of people. Zhou Yi's title Douluo celebration was being held there, February 15th. The celebration arrived. Countless soul masters flocked to Yihua Garden early, chatting in small groups. Ning Fengji, head of the Qibao Glazed sect, has arrived with Bon Douluo and his wife, Ning Zhongze. A loud voice announced at the entrance. Everyone turned to see Ning Fengji, Ning Zhongze, and Bon Douluo, all with an air of distinction. I heard the old sect master passed away 6 months ago, and Ning Xiao took over. He's young and promising, and the old sect master found a worthy successor. I've rarely heard of Mrs. Ning, but she's stunning. Ning Fengji is one lucky guy. I heard that Ning Fengji was once in love with a beautiful support-type soul master. Mrs. Ning was a forced marriage due to the old sect master's authority. Really? Who knows? But the Qibao Glazed Pagoda is the strongest support spirit, but it has little combat power, so the other half is usually a strong combat soul master. The old sect master would never let Ning Fengji marry a support soul master. So Mrs. Ning is a combat soul master. What's her martial soul? I heard it's a sword. When Sword Douluo was crowned sect protector Douluo, Zhou Yi attended the ceremony and gave Mrs. Ning some pointers. Don't know if it's true or not. Probably. Mrs. Ning never attends anything. Ning Fengji never brought her out before. She's probably here this time because Zhou Yi helped her. Otherwise, she wouldn't come. Makes sense. With so many soul masters from various factions gathered, gossip was flying everywhere. Haotian sect's old leader, Tang Chen, has arrived with leader Tang Ao, Tang Xiao, Tang Hao, and Tang Yuehua. The crowd was buzzing. The old leader of the Haotian sect. The one who made them the top sect. Who else? He's the most powerful Haotian Douluo in history, the one who led the sect to the top. Wow! He must be over 100 years old, right? He looks like he's in his 30s or 40s. He doesn't look old even standing next to his son and grandson. He's at level 99. A true powerhouse. I didn't expect Zhou Yi's celebration to draw someone like him. Zhou Yi is a 23-year-old titled Douluo. Even scarier, the 22-year-old Zhou Yi was just a great soul master. That's right, being a 23-year-old titled Douluo isn't scary. Going from great soul master to titled Douluo in under a year is what's scary. People stared at Tang Chen in shock and admiration. He was a living legend. Qian Daoliu, the Grand Priest of the Spirit Hall, has arrived with Pope Qian Xuanji, Elder Zhu Douluo, Ghost Douluo, and Saint Bibi Dong. Boom, that announcement silenced everyone. The Grand Priest of the Spirit Hall and the Pope are here. Qian Daoliu is on par with Tang Chen. Seeing so many legends today. The old leader and the Grand Priest are like mountains. Level 99 soul masters you only hear about. This is quite the event. Then Yu Yuanjin, leader of the Blue Lightning Overlord sect, Emperor Shui Yi of the Tiando Empire, Emperor Dai Jinba of the Star Luo Empire, and others arrived, bringing the atmosphere to a fever pitch. Tang Chen and Qian Daoliu walked together, while others chatted in groups. Thank you for coming all this way. Welcome. Zhou Yi and Liu Erlong appeared, drawing everyone's attention. Is that Zhou Yi? Qian Daoliu and Tang Chen saw him for the first time, scrutinizing him. Zhou Yi smiled calmly, not intimidated by the powerful soul masters. He's got guts. Tang Chen and Qian Daoliu thought, as the top experts, their gaze could be unnerving, but Zhou Yi seemed unfazed. Zhou Yi, bring it on. Talented people always emerge, Tang Chen said, smiling. You young people are taking over. You're too kind. With your cultivation, you're in your prime, Zhou Yi said. I heard your first soul ring is 100,000 years old. Never seen that before. Care to show us? Qian Daoliu narrowed his eyes. He wanted confirmation. Everyone held their breath. They wanted to know if Zhou Yi was a titled Douluo and had 200,000-year soul rings. Since you're curious, how can I refuse? Zhou Yi said. He wanted to show off anyway. I know everyone is curious. Zhou Yi announced loudly. Everyone stared at him. Is he really a titled Douluo? Bibi Dong's heart pounded, her eyes on Zhou Yi. Remembering what he did to her, she couldn't help but tense up. Boom! Zhou Yi activated his martial soul, the dragon sword appeared, and 9 soul rings, red, purple, purple, black, 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 and red, rose from his feet. The brilliant light blinded everyone. Chapter 65, To subvert the Soul Master World. This is to make the entire Soul Master world an enemy. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Quiet down. Dead silence. Every soul master there stared, mouths gaping, eyes wide, at Zhou Yi's 9 stunning soul rings. Their minds were blown, they even forgot to breathe for a beat. A long, long time passed. Finally, one soul master snapped back to reality. He looked at Zhou Yi, blazing like the sun under everyone's gaze, and stammered. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7, 8, 9. 9 soul rings. He's a titled Douluo. Red, purple, purple, black, 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 red. Good heavens, that soul ring setup is insane. Is that 100,000-year soul ring? It's blinding. That every soul master was stunned, beyond shocked. Just plain shocked. In that instant, nobody doubted Zhou Yi was a titled Douluo. 9 soul rings said it all. Titled Douluo confirmed. Once the shock subsided, Everyone wondered how Zhou Yi had shot from some nobody great soul master to the god-tier title Douluo level in less than a year, totally off the charts. That first soul ring really is 100,000-year one. It's gotta be tied to the god somehow. Tang Chen and Qian Daoliu locked their eyes on Zhou Yi. They knew some stuff about him already, they were kinda ready for it, but actually seeing those 9 rings blazing around Zhou Yi still shook them. How the heck did this kid snag 200,000-year soul rings? Qian Xuanji was green with envy and jealousy. As Pope of the Spirit Hall, he had major clout, he had title Douluo bending to his will, but even he didn't have 100,000-year soul ring, not even one. And now Zhou Yi, who used to be worthless trash in his eyes, someone he wouldn't even spit on, was suddenly a title Douluo rocking 200,000-year soul rings. Seriously. Zhou Yi dismissed his martial spirit, but everyone was still buzzing. Truth is, the reason I leveled up so fast is because of this new training system I developed. Zhou Yi's voice boomed over the crowd. You guys have probably heard whispers about it. It's the martial arts system. Hearing this, everyone's ears perked up. Their eyes lit up. If Zhou Yi could hit title Douluo that quick, could they, too? Could mastering Zhou Yi's martial arts be their ticket to superfast progression? Everyone held their breath, not wanting to miss a word. You could hear a pin drop. Zhou Yi scanned the crowd, pleased. He kept going. Everyone knows my martial soul was just some dull, beat-up iron sword, and my innate soul power was a measly half-level. Back then, I was just racking my brain trying to figure out how to get stronger. And you know, with half a level of soul power, leveling up is a drag. It would take forever and a day to get to level 10, snag a soul ring, and become a soul master. Meanwhile, these born geniuses with maxed out soul power become soul masters right when they wake up their martial souls. Most folks think you need to be a soul master with at least one soul skill to actually pack a punch. But I don't buy it. Can't a soul warrior with just a few levels of soul power have some fight in them? Pretty sure you guys know something about this. Right then, some big, tough-looking dude shouted. Your Majesty! Your Majesty, God of Martial Arts! I know you came up with your own soul skill, the 13 life-stealing swords. Even with just a few levels of soul master training, you can still drop a soul master. Spot on. Zhou Yi nodded a little. Actually, I'd rather call the 13 deadly swords martial arts instead of calling them soul skills I made up. Even regular folks with zero soul power can get seriously strong if they grind at this martial art and level it up. Of course, soul masters have soul power as a bonus, and they can bust out all sorts of soul skills. Regular people aren't gonna beat soul masters with just martial arts alone. Unless they get like, Zen with their skills. So, I started thinking, if soul masters can train soul power, why can't regular folks train some other power and get stronger? Are they just stuck being bottom of the barrel trash for life? I'm just a nobody, but I'm reaching for the sky. Boom. It was like thunder cracking open the sky, deafening everyone. A ton of soul masters, especially the lower level ones and the regular servants, felt a surge in their chest, their blood boiling when they heard that. When Zhou Yi's words hit the streets, the shock and vibes it sent through the lower classes and low-level soul masters would be like Chen Sheng and Wu Guang saying all men were created equal. Inspiring and enlightening. Man, it's a pleasure to listen to this guy every time. Yu Xiaojiang's head was spinning, and he pulled out a little notebook and started scribbling down everything Zhou Yi was saying and doing. It was priceless intel. So hot. Bibi Dong's eyes sparkled as she watched Zhou Yi, standing in the middle of the crowd, speaking with so much passion. She was totally hypnotized. At that moment, Bibi Dong felt like Zhou Yi was glowing, he was radiating sheer awesomeness, and it wasn't just Bibi Dong. Plenty of other guys and girls there had fire in their eyes and passion in their hearts, but the big shots and leaders of the major forces frowned when they heard this. They were looking at Zhou Yi differently now. Zhou Yi didn't care what they were thinking. Right now, he was fired up and dropping truth bombs. I think people have endless potential. I believe in myself. I believe people can move mountains. Zhou Yi's voice went deeper and stronger. he said with all the passion he had. And finally, I did it. I created martial arts moves that even regular people with zero innate soul power can train, even if they can't become soul masters. When a soul master trains in martial arts, the soul power in their body turns into martial arts energy, and leveling up is way faster than meditating to boost soul power. Whoa! Those words hit like a lightning bolt, and the whole place exploded, shocked, freaked out, hyped up, unbelievable. Regular folks could train, too. Soul masters could level up faster with martial arts. Every soul master's eyes turned red. They had to find a way to get their hands on this training, even if they had to bow down to Zhou Yi or be his lackey. Zhou Yi was a titled Douluo now, being Zhou Yi's goon. No shame in that, and as for becoming an apprentice? Good luck getting a titled Douluo to take you on. My friend, you're a true genius, a gift from the heavens. Qian Daoliu's voice cut through, making the soul masters with fiery eyes flinch. Something big was about to go down. Zhou Yi's martial arts stuff was a game changer for soul masters, but it also seriously messed with their status. If regular folks could train and get strong, they wouldn't be the only ones in charge. Originally, out of 100 people, less than one, or maybe just 1 in 1,000, could become a soul master, but with this martial arts stuff out there, everyone could train. Even if soul masters still had the advantage, they wouldn't have the same clout. This was shaking up the whole soul master world. The spirit hall had the most soul masters on the continent. If Zhou Yi's martial arts blew up, the spirit hall would be the first to get hammered. Smart soul masters got it. They also knew about the beef between the spirit hall and the Heaven Dou Empire and the Star Dou Empire. There wasn't enough room for everyone. The spirit hall had a huge advantage because of all their soul masters. And the Pope had more power than the emperors of the two empires. Those empires weren't happy. If Zhou Yi's martial arts spread, those two empires with their massive human armies would take over. The spirit hall couldn't let that happen. Emperor Shui Yi of the Heaven Dou Empire and Emperor Dai Jinba of the Star Luo Empire clenched their fists, breathing hard. They had to get their hands on Zhou Yi's martial arts. Martial arts plus the human army plus all the people under their thumb was enough to make them real emperors, enough for them to smash the spirit hall and even the soul master forces. I'm just curious how the martial arts energy you create compares to soul power. Qian Daoliu's eyes sparked like lightning. He had a faint smile on his face, but it was still super intimidating. The soul masters around him were shaking, like they wanted to kneel. Tang Chen's eyes darted around. He wasn't sure if he should help Zhou Yi or not. Technically speaking, he, the Clear Sky School, also had a lot to lose. Martial arts getting big would hurt his place as the top sect on the continent, and if the Heaven Dou Empire and Star Luo Empire got martial arts and got stronger, they would definitely mess with the Clear Sky School. It would be hard for his Clear Sky School to ever be as big as it was. How does it compare to soul power? Zhou Yi looked at Qian Daoliu, smiled, and said something that shocked everyone. Why don't you try it and find out? P.S. Qian Daoliu, what a brat. You want to throw down? You're asking for it. Zhou Yi, vote for me. Chapter 66. There will be no good end if you treat others like dogs. Second update, please vote for. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Why don't you give it a shot and find out? Silence. You could hear a pin drop. Horror, disbelief, incredible. Is Zhou Yi out of his mind? Challenging Qian Daoliu, the Grand High Priest of the Spirit Hall. Seriously? They're like two unshakable mountains in the Soul Master world, and Zhou Yi just became a titled Douluo. Even a veteran like Sword Douluo isn't a match for Qian Daoliu, the only person here who might have a shot against Qian Daoliu. Tang Chen, the old leader of the Clear Sky School. I was debating whether to lend him a hand, but this kid's completely lost it, picking a fight with Qian Daoliu. He's gonna get wrecked. Tang Chen shook his head. Zhou Yi might be talented, but he's young and cocky. Guys like that, they don't get far. Figures. Young and reckless, thinks he's hot stuff just 'cause he's got some power, Emperor Shui thought, shaking his head. He couldn't care less if Zhou Yi lived or died. What mattered was whether Zhou Yi's martial arts could actually make regular people stronger through practice. After today, come what may, he'd get his hands on it and try it out. If it works, his Heaven Dou Empire would be on the rise in no time. Arrogant fool, Before Qian Daoliu could even speak, Qian Xuanji, the Spirit Hall Pope, was already fuming. You think a newly minted title Douluo with a couple of 100,000-year soul rings is qualified to challenge my father? He sneered. You're wrong. Zhou Yi shook his head. Just as everyone was scratching their heads, his voice cut through the air, clear and calm. The Grand High Priest is curious how martial arts' true energy stacks up against soul power. So, naturally, I'll use my martial arts strength to compete with him. In other words, I won't use my spirit or soul rings. What? He's not using his spirit or soul rings? Those words hit everyone like a thunderbolt. They were stunned, except for the servants. Pretty much everyone present was a soul master. Soul masters fight with soul skills and soul rings. Take those away, and you're fighting bare-handed. That's like a tiger without teeth and claws. How can you possibly win? Your Holiness, I'm also curious about this martial arts power. How about you teach me the martial arts of the martial god Douluo first? Then we can see if the martial god Douluo is actually capable enough to challenge the Grand High Priest. Hu Yanjin's booming voice echoed through the silent crowd. He stepped forward, his massive frame like a hill, radiating power. It's the leader of the Elephant Armor School. The Elephant Armor School's ancestral spirit is the Diamond Mammoth. Super defensive. Its power and defense are insanely high, making them the strongest defensive school around. Hu Yanjin's only in level 89 Soul Douluo, just one level away from title Douluo, but if the martial god Douluo doesn't use his spirit or soul rings, he might not be able to take him. That everyone thought the same thing. Hu Yanjin was such a spirit hall bootlicker, jumping at the chance to get noticed, sucking up to the Pope and Grand High Priest of the Spirit Hall, a rare opportunity. Normally, Hu Yanjin would never even get close to Qian Daoliu. Since Master Hu Yan is so curious, let's have him try first. Qian Xuanji smiled and waved his hand. He remembered Zhou Yi had once seriously injured Chrysanthemum Douluo Yueguan with a single punch, without using his spirit or soul rings. According to Bibi Dong, it was a special soul skill Zhou Yi had created, so, he knew Hu Yanjin didn't stand a chance, but he wanted to test the waters with Hu Yanjin anyway. He wanted to see what was so special about Zhou Yi's soul skill. Hearing about it is one thing, seeing it is another. Thank you, Your Holiness. Hu Yanjin bowed, then turned to Zhou Yi. Lord Martial God, are you sure you don't want to use your spirit or soul skills? Positive. Zhou Yi nodded slightly. You only get one shot. Make it count. Master Hu Yan, the martial god Douluo is a title Douluo, the founder of martial arts. If you don't go all out, you're disrespecting the martial god Douluo. Qian Xuanji reminded him. He was afraid Hu Yanjin didn't realize how strong Zhou Yi was, and wouldn't go all out. Then the test would be worthless. Of course. I'd never underestimate the martial god. Hu Yanjin grinned and activated his spirit. The powerful mammoth spirit was unleashed, 8 soul rings blazed, and his body glowed with a strong earthy yellow light. 7th soul skill, Spirit Avatar. Hu Yanjin transformed into a raging diamond mammoth. The power made countless soul masters retreat in fear. There were a lot of title Douluo, not everyone was present, most of the soul masters were below the Contra rank. The level 89 Soul Douluo Hu Yanjin was already a high-level soul master, and only a few title Douluo outranked him. Prepare to die. Seeing that Zhou Yi hadn't activated his spirit, Hu Yanjin laughed and charged. Diamond mammoths are known for their strength and defense. Since Zhou Yi wasn't using his spirit or soul skills, he would just crush him with his spirit avatar. He could practically see Zhou Yi flattened. What a clueless idiot. Ning Zhongze, Chen Xian, and the others knew Zhou Yi's strength. They rolled their eyes when they saw Hu Yanjin being used as a pawn to please the Spirit Hall. Oh my god, why isn't Martial God Douluo doing anything? Is he frozen in fear? The soul masters who didn't know how terrifying Zhou Yi was stared, their hearts pounding. Why hadn't Zhou Yi moved yet? Was he really going to go head-to-head with Hu Yanjin, who was using his spirit avatar? That was like an egg against a rock. That kid can knock out Yueguan with one punch. Hu Yanjin's no match for him. I just wonder how he's going to do it. Qian Daoliu watched Zhou Yi intently. full of curiosity. Then, a terrifying crash echoed through the air, like a planet colliding with Earth. Shockwaves ripped outwards from where the two stood. Crack. The sound of bones breaking rang out. Everyone pictured Zhou Yi's bones snapping. Then, a scream. Everyone was stunned. Hu Yanjin's massive body flew backwards. He came back just as fast as he went. The spirit avatar shattered. His whole body was limp, like he was boneless. Bang. Hu Yanjin slammed into the ground, creating a crater in the stone floor. He lay there like a pile of mud, motionless. Hiss. Silence. The soul masters were speechless, rubbing their eyes. Unbelievable, what just happened? They only saw Hu Yanjin charge, and then fly back. Everyone turned to Zhou Yi. Numb, he was standing with his hands behind his back, his clothes fluttering, as if he hadn't moved a muscle the whole time, untouched, unscathed, incomprehensible, terrifying, horrifying. Chapter 67, I can't hit you even if I stand still, but I punch out the panda's eyes. Third update, p. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Whoa, powerful. Tang Yuehua, standing beside Tang Hao, stared at Zhou Yi with her beautiful, watery eyes. His figure, standing tall and upright with his hands clasped behind his back, seemed otherworldly. She knew Zhou Yi was strong, terrifyingly so. She could barely walk sometimes after being with him, but she hadn't witnessed many of Zhou Yi's serious fights, except for that time in the cave when he took out the flower snatcher Luo Zhifan with a single strike. Later, she journeyed thousands of miles with Zhou Yi, enduring countless battles. She got hurt every time, but luckily, she had Zhou Yi's specially made Jiuhua Jade cream. Still, that couldn't compare. Those weren't real battles. Did Zhou Yi create that technique? Tang Chen squinted, studying Zhou Yi intently. The others might have missed it, but with his level 99 peerless Douluo cultivation, he'd seen it clearly. The moment Hu Yanjin was about to hit Zhou Yi, a faint layer of golden light shimmered around Zhou Yi's body. Like a golden bell, it enveloped Zhou Yi. Hu Yanjin slammed into this golden bell and was blasted backward, never even grazing Zhou Yi's clothes, and the force was devastating. It shattered countless bones in Hu Yanjin's body almost instantly. Horrifying. Is that Zhou Yi's self-created soul skill? No, it's more like a martial art. He can use it without a martial soul or soul rings. Qian Xuanji's eyes flickered as he watched Zhou Yi. Even if he didn't want to admit it, he had a feeling he couldn't break Zhou Yi's defense. Besides, Zhou Yi's attack power was immense. One punch had destroyed Yu Guan. While he was stronger than Yu Guan, he might not be able to withstand that kind of power. Clap. 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 Crisp applause echoed as Qian Daoliu stepped forward, smiling. My young friend's martial arts are truly remarkable. It makes me itch to see them in action. Today, I'll get a good look at your amazing skills. That he knew Qian Xuanji probably wasn't a match for Zhou Yi, so he had to intervene to curb Zhou Yi's arrogance. Go ahead, Grand Priest. Zhou Yi smiled faintly, still with his hands behind his back. His expression seemed to say, I'm invincible. Do your worst. Everyone held their breath. This was Qian Daoliu, the Grand Priest of the Spirit Hall. He wasn't some trash like Hu Yanjin, who wasn't even a titled Douluo, but everyone had witnessed Zhou Yi's power. Even if Zhou Yi couldn't defeat Qian Daoliu, it would be an epic clash. Alright, kid, don't say I didn't warn you. Qian Daoliu moved, soaring into the sky. A seraph martial soul, radiating endless holy light, emerged behind him, making him appear sacred and transcendent. Is that the angel martial soul? Incredible. Countless spirit masters had only heard of the angel martial souls inherited by the Qian families in the Spirit Hall, but few had actually seen one. What a terrifying aura. I feel like my soul is shaking. Is this the peak power of a spirit master? Countless spirit masters retreated, leaving Zhou Yi isolated within 100 meters. Is this the power of level 99? So strong. I'm nowhere near his level right now. Sword Douluo Qinshin, already at level 96, looked somberly at Qian Daoliu in the sky, feeling a mix of shock and fierce determination. So what if he's level 99? He had the sword techniques taught by his teachers. One day, he would surpass level 99. Grandpa, can Brother Zhou withstand the Grand Priest's attack? Tang Hao asked Tang Chen, concerned. Hard to say. I can't see through Zhou Yi anymore. Tang Chen shook his head. However, the power of level 99 is far beyond that of ordinary title Douluo. Zhou Yi probably can't beat him, but with Zhou Yi's defense, Qian Daoliu won't find it easy to kill him. He won't lose, Tang Yuehua thought, her beautiful eyes fixed on the battlefield. Angel Light Blade, Qian Daoliu didn't waste time, attacking directly, endless golden light bloomed, releasing 15 small golden lightsabers that circled around him before merging into one massive golden lightsaber. Seeing this huge lightsaber, countless spirit masters trembled, knowing they would be annihilated if it struck them, so powerful. Even Bibi Dong, Tang Yuehua, and the others, despite knowing Zhou Yi's strength, felt their palms grow sweaty, and their hearts seemed to stop. The power of this sword was immense, it could split a mountain. Boom! Qian Daoliu gripped the huge golden lightsaber with both hands and struck Zhou Yi from above. Zhou Yi looked up, his eyes calm, still with his hands behind his back, composed and motionless, but this time, no one thought Zhou Yi was afraid, they simply watched him intently, wondering if Zhou Yi's defensive move against Hu Yanjun could withstand such a terrifying strike from Qian Daoliu. Buzz, just as the golden giant sword was about a foot away from Zhou Yi's head, it was blocked by a golden bell that materialized suddenly. Boom! The crisp ringing of the bell reverberated, and terrifying shockwaves swept outward, shattering and scattering pieces of bluestone. Countless spirit masters quickly used their spirit power to defend themselves. This time, that they finally saw it clearly, it was a soul shield similar to a golden bell, completely protecting Zhou Yi. The golden giant's sword crashed down, but the bell didn't budge. Then, the golden giant's sword crumbled inch by inch, dissipating into the air. Everyone's breath hitched. Blocked, he actually blocked it. And with such ease, without even lifting a finger. Unbelievable. What strong defense. Qian Daoliu was secretly alarmed. While this sword wasn't his strongest, even a level 96 title Douluo couldn't have stopped it, but Zhou Yi's golden bell had blocked it effortlessly. It wasn't even dented. Angel Holy Sword. The second attack followed immediately. A golden vortex appeared in front of Qian Daoliu's palm, and a golden lightsaber gradually formed in the center. This golden lightsaber was even more terrifying, like a flying sword, shooting out to pierce Zhou Yi's chest. Clang! The golden bell rang out loudly, and the golden lightsaber shattered instantly from the backlash. There was dead silence. Countless spirit masters stared, wide-eyed, their breathing quickened. If the first sword was just a test, the second sword definitely showed at least 70% of his strength, yet it was still blocked effortlessly. The defense of this golden bell was simply impenetrable. No wonder Hu Yanjun had suffered so much. How is this possible? How can this kid be so strong? Qian Xuanji couldn't accept it. Zhou Yi's current strength far surpassed his own. Brother Yi is so awesome. Bibi Dong's eyes shone brightly, feeling like she wanted to become one with Zhou Yi. What the hell is this golden bell? How can it have such strong defense? Qian Daoliu was getting frustrated. 2 attacks hadn't broken through his defense yet. He was embarrassed. Angel Glory. Qian Daoliu unleashed his 9th spirit skill. He brought his hands close to his chest in a prayer gesture, and golden light shone all over his body. Then, he gently pushed his hands forward, and a massive golden beam cannon erupted, blasting towards Zhou Yi. This attack shook heaven and earth, making ghosts and gods weep. The souls of countless spirit masters trembled, and those with weak minds were already paralyzed with fear. Qian Daoliu is really serious. Tang Chen's expression was grim. Even he would have to use his full strength to block this attack. A moment of carelessness could result in injury. After all, his strength was about the same as Qian Daoliu's. On the ground, Qian Daoliu couldn't beat him. In the air, he couldn't beat Qian Daoliu. Book of Changes. Bibi Dong couldn't help but exclaim. This attack was terrifying, so destructive that it was hard for her to breathe. Even though she was confident in Zhou Yi, she couldn't help but worry. This Zhou Yi is dead. Martial God Douluo, he's just risen to power and is about to fall. Every tall tree in the forest will be toppled by the wind. No one was optimistic about Zhou Yi. This attack was too overwhelming. No one thought Zhou Yi could stop it, except for Chen Xian, Liu Erlong, and others close to Zhou Yi. but just when everyone thought Zhou Yi was doomed, Zhou Yi unexpectedly appeared in the sky at an unimaginable speed. What was even more unbelievable was that, despite possessing the speed to dodge completely, Zhou Yi didn't. Instead, he met Qian Daoliu's attack head on. Was he crazy? I can't let you destroy my Yi-Hua garden. It cost a lot of money to build. Zhou Yi's faint voice reached everyone's ears, and they were dumbfounded. You flew into the sky to meet the attack just to avoid damaging the manor? What a novel idea. Boom! The angel's glory struck Zhou Yi's golden bell instantly, and a terrifying explosion of golden light blinded all the spirit masters. They closed their eyes and covered them with their hands. When they opened their eyes again, Zhou Yi stood proudly in the void, with his hands behind his back, his clothes fluttering. He looked like a god descending to the mortal world, without a trace of battle on his body. How can this be? Qian Daoliu's indifferent expression finally crumbled. If Zhou Yi had dodged with his incredible speed, he wouldn't have been surprised. But Zhou Yi had withstood his ultimate attack unscathed. Even more terrifying was that Zhou Yi hadn't even lifted a finger from beginning to end, not even mentioning Zhou Yi's incredible swordsmanship. How terrifying would it be if he used it? Not just Qian Daoliu but Qian Xuanji, Zhu Douluo, Ghost Douluo, Yu Yuanjin, and countless other powerful spirit masters were shocked. Was he even human? He was too strong, simply not human. He was a god. Martial God Douluo truly deserved the name of martial god. So terrifying. What's impossible? Zhou Yi smiled softly and appeared in front of Qian Daoliu in an instant. His face was less than 4 inches away from Qian Daoliu's face. Ah! Qian Daoliu was startled, his pupils shrinking suddenly, and his hair standing on end. How could he be so fast? He didn't even react. Zhou Yi was right in front of him. As silent as a ghost, faster than the speed of sound. Eat this! Zhou Yi clenched his fist and punched Qian Daoliu in the eye. Bang! Ah! Qian Daoliu screamed and was smashed down from the air like a rag doll. The ground shook, dust billowed. Everyone looked in shock and saw only a large human-shaped crater. Zhou Yi floated down from the sky, like a fairy descending to earth, like a god coming to the world. And Qian Daoliu, the level 99 peerless Douluo, that was very resilient, he struggled to sit up from the pit. His left eye was already purple, almost black. Countless spirit masters were stunned. Then, they couldn't help but laugh. Was this still the handsome, unmatched, and divine angel Douluo? What a humiliation. Chapter 68 Zhou Yi wants to be the enemy of the whole world. Please vote. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Snap. 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 It was like a collective facepalm echoing in everyone's heads, and a real face was hurting. There he stood, the 99th level peerless Douluo, considered the absolute pinnacle of the soul master world, the invincible high priest of the spirit hall, now instantly floored with a single punch. Everyone was frozen, slack-jawed. They couldn't believe their eyes. Was this the power of martial arts? It was like a pig flying. Zhou Yi's defense was more impenetrable than any defense-type soul master. His power eclipsed even the strongest strength-based soul masters, a fact etched in the dark circles blooming around Qian Daoliu's eyes. Zhou Yi's speed was faster than even agility-based specialists, so fast that even Qian Daoliu, at level 99, couldn't react. Qian Daoliu was probably thinking, am I just a benchmark now? Defense, strength, speed, all flawless, and that was just what Zhou Yi showed. There had to be more he was holding back. Plus, Zhou Yi still had his martial arts techniques and soul skills to unleash. He was terrifying, absolutely terrifying. He felt virtually unstoppable. Father. High Priest, Qian Xuanji, Yu Guan, Gue Mei, and the others snapped out of their stupor and rushed to Qian Daoliu's side, helping him up. Father, are you alright? I'm fine. Qian Daoliu waved them off. He was, after all, a level 99 powerhouse who could take a beating. Besides, Zhou Yi's punch was casual, he wasn't even trying, and still, he went down. My young friend is truly a master of martial arts. This has been quite an eye-opener. There was an edge of anger in Qian Daoliu's voice. You just don't punch a guy in the face. This Zhou Yi was breaking all the rules, but, witnessing Zhou Yi's power, he couldn't afford to lose his cool. If this escalated, he would be in even worse shape and even more embarrassed. Sure, he still had soul bones and skills he hadn't used, but Zhou Yi hadn't even activated his martial spirit, making his swordsmanship useless. Even if he went all out, he probably wouldn't stand a chance against Zhou Yi. "You flatter me, High Priest," Zhou Yi gave a calm smile, feigning concern. "I happen to be skilled in some healing techniques. Why don't I take a look at you, High Priest?" Qian Daoliu wanted to refuse, but curiosity about Zhou Yi's healing won out. "Alright, young friend, I'll take you up on that." "My pleasure." Zhou Yi channeled his holy heart chi, treating Qian Daoliu's dark circles from a distance. The purple-green discoloration rapidly faded. In the blink of an eye, he looked like new, no better or worse than a dedicated healing soul master. Qian Daoliu thought this kid knows how to heal, too. Is that a martial art he developed himself, or is it an effect of his martial arts energy? Qian Daoliu had sharp eyes, but even he was uncertain. The surrounding soul masters erupted with murmurs. Holy cow, is there anything this martial art can't do? Seriously. The defense is off the charts, the speed is insane, the strength is unreal, and now he's a healer too. What can't he do? Give birth to children. This is insane. Countless soul masters stared at Zhou Yi, their eyes burning with excitement. It was clear, the power structure of the continent was changing. The old bipolar power dynamic, Tang Chen, Qian Daoliu, had suddenly become one superpower, Zhou Yi, and two strong, Tang Chen, Qian Daoliu. Bo Saishi was left scratching her head. She didn't even register on the list. Zhou Yi had climbed to the top by making Qian Daoliu a stepping stone. He could rightfully be called the strongest person on the continent, and there was no argument to be had about that. He instantly dropped Qian Daoliu with a single punch. Even if Tang Chen had never fought Zhou Yi, he would be no match for Zhou Yi. That golden bell-shaped shield you used, is that part of your martial art? Qian Daoliu wasn't as concerned with Zhou Yi's healing abilities, but he was extremely curious about that impenetrable golden bell. Even he couldn't break through it. It was a frightening martial arts skill. He could scarcely believe it was something he'd created himself. Qian Xuanji, Gui Mei, Yu Guan, Yu Yuanzhen, Ning Fengji, and all the other soul masters strained to listen, equally intrigued. That's called the golden bell cover. More precisely, it's a body training technique that cultivates both inner and outer strength. A body training technique that cultivates both inner and outer strength. Qian Daoliu frowned slightly. How is that any different from martial arts? Martial skills are like soul skills. They bring out the power we possess. Cultivation is a method of developing strength, similar to a soul master's meditation technique. Zhou Yi's explanation clicked for them, but they still had some questions about these inner and outer cultivation methods. Were there other types of exercises? Zhou Yi seemed to sense their confusion and elaborated. Skills are divided into internal and external. Internal skills are used to cultivate the true energy of martial arts, which is like meditation for cultivating soul power. And external skills are about training the physical body, making it as strong as that of defense and strength-based soul masters. My golden bell has 12 levels. When mastered, it creates a Vajra body. It becomes invulnerable to fire and water, immune to all poisons, tireless, and has a constant flow of skills. In other words, I can maintain peak condition indefinitely, fighting until the end of my days. Silence fell. Everyone's eyes widened. Their first reaction was disbelief. Impossible, absolutely impossible. Was he even human? Not even God can fight endlessly, right? Friend, that's quite an exaggeration, don't you think? Qian Daoliu didn't buy it. He thought Zhou Yi was just trying to scare them. I'm just stating a fact. Believe it or not, that's your business. Don't say I didn't warn you. Zhou Yi gave Qian Daoliu a meaningful look, then glanced at the high-ranking and powerful figures present, including Emperor Shui and Emperor Dai Jinba. He was about to found the martial sect, and the strength he displayed today seriously threatened the status of the major empires and the spirit hall. He revealed the power of the golden bell, hoping to spook them, if they tried to stand in his way. Zhou Yi would show them what it meant to face one person against an entire nation, what it meant for one person to wipe out millions. Soul masters on the Douluo continent burned through resources quickly in battle. Even a 99-level peerless Douluo like Qian Daoliu couldn't defeat an entire nation alone. If he was pinned down and unable to escape, he would be overwhelmed and killed by the sheer numbers. So even though Zhou Yi showed stronger abilities than Qian Daoliu, it still wasn't enough to truly frighten everyone, especially if the potential gains were large enough. Everyone was quiet after hearing Zhou Yi's words. Zhou Yi continued. Today, I'd like to share some good news. I will be establishing a sect, a martial arts sect, to carry forward the art of martial arts. Boom. Those words dropped like a bomb. Qian Daoliu, Tang Chen, Ning Fengji, Yu Yuanjin, Shui Yi, Dai Jinbao, and other prominent leaders were shaken to their core. When Zhou Yi explained the power of the Golden Bell, they had suspected that Zhou Yi was planning something big, trying to intimidate them with the power of the Golden Bell. Sure enough, the big moment had arrived. Zhou Yi actually wanted to found a sect. With the power Zhou Yi had shown today, countless soul masters would want to join and learn martial arts. Martial arts and being a soul master weren't mutually exclusive, they even complemented each other. That was far more appealing than the Spirit Hall. This was undermining the very foundations of the Spirit Hall, and martial arts wasn't just for soul masters. Even ordinary people without innate soul power could practice it. That made countless ordinary people go crazy. They were the foundation of the empire. The reason the Spirit Hall couldn't dominate the continent was that there were too few soul masters, and they would be overwhelmed by the massive mortal armies. That was why the Spirit Hall and the two empires maintained an uneasy peace. Zhou Yi's martial sect could attract both huge numbers of soul masters and ordinary people who couldn't become soul masters. Give it time, the whole world would be filled with martial arts practitioners. They would all be disciples of the martial sect. They would all be Zhou Yi's disciples. All Zhou Yi had to do was raise his arm and issue a call to arms, and he could wear the yellow robe and rewrite the world. Chapter 69, Bibi Dong, the Saint of Wuhun Palace, who prostituted herself for free, asking for month. You are listening at novelfull.audio. He wants to start a sect, a martial arts sect. Holy cow, martial god Douluo is launching a sect to promote martial arts. Sign me up for the Wuzong. After the initial shock, the soul masters present were instantly buzzing with excitement, having just witnessed Zhou Yi's unbelievable power. Which one of them didn't want to learn his martial arts? Before, they were wondering how they'd ever get the chance. I mean, this was Zhou Yi's signature move. After all, he wasn't exactly going to teach it to just anyone, but out of the blue, he announces he's starting a whole sect for soul masters. That's like Christmas. Their biggest dream is to become stronger. The Wuzong might not be up there with the Spirit Hall or the Clear Sky School yet, but its potential is off the charts. With a powerhouse like Zhou Yi at the helm, and those martial arts skills everyone's drooling over, the Wuzong could explode in popularity, maybe even eclipse the Spirit Hall and Clear Sky School and become the #1 sect on the continent. Zhao Wuji, at your service to the god of war. Then a booming voice cut through the crowd, and people parted to reveal a young man, plain-looking but built like a brick house, stepping forward and bowing to Zhou Yi. He wasn't tall, but he had a commanding presence. His shoulders were as wide as a city wall, and even under his coat, you could see the rippling muscles hewn from steel. Though his expression was respectful, his sheer bulk radiated power. I am a huge admirer of the martial god Mian's skills, and I'm begging you to take me on as a disciple. Zhao Wuji's voice was loud, clear, and unwavering. Zhou Yi's earlier battle had his blood pumping, especially that Golden Bell defense. He was completely mesmerized. His spirit was the mighty King Kong bear, all about strength and defense. If he could master Zhou Yi's Golden Bell cover, he'd be unstoppable. This was a golden opportunity, so, he went for it, ignoring the stares and the pressure. He stepped up. The others were stunned. It wasn't exactly the Wuzong's opening day. After all, this was a title Douluo celebration. Zhao Wuji's move seemed a bit premature. Silence hung in the air. They all watched. The longer the silence stretched, the more nervous Zhao Wuji became, cold sweat trickling down his forehead. Time crawled by. Some of the soul masters were already smirking, secretly relieved they'd held back. If you wanted to become a disciple, maybe it was better to ask quietly after the party, less embarrassing if you got turned down. Maybe I jumped the gun, Zhao Wuji thought, but he didn't regret it. Just when he was about to crack, Zhou Yi finally spoke. All right. Zhou Yi's word was like a shot of adrenaline, turning his despair to elation. I wasn't planning on taking on any disciples today. but seeing your persistence, and since it's such a festive occasion, I'll make an exception and accept you as my disciple. Wow. A collective gasp went through the crowd, shocked that Zhao Wuji had actually pulled it off. In that instant, they were all green with envy, they wanted to learn too. But it was too late. Zhou Yi had already said he wasn't taking any more today, and Zhao Wuji was a one-time deal. Trying to muscle in now would be a serious faux pas, suicide, even. Should have been me who went up first. Countless soul masters kicked themselves. Everyone wants to be a pioneer, but only one person gets there first. Disciple Zhao Wuji gives his respects to the master. Zhao Wuji, ecstatic, bowed again. Rise. Zhou Yi nodded, and Zhao Wuji straightened up, stepping aside with a huge grin on his face. The surrounding soul masters were practically bursting with envy, jealous of Zhao Wuji's lucky break. Congratulations, my friend, on finding such a promising student. Qian Daoliu stepped forward with congratulations, but his heart was conflicted. Seeing the enthusiasm in the room, he knew the Wuzong could become the spirit hall's biggest and scariest rival, but he couldn't stop it now. Tang Chen, Ning Fengji, Shui Yi, Dai Jinba, and others also offered their congratulations, each with their own agenda. The title Douluo celebration, an unforgettable experience for many soul masters, came to a close. Zhou Yi invited Qian Xuanji and his group to the drawing room, expressed his feelings for Bibi Dong, and proposed marriage to Qian Xuanji. Qian Xuanji hadn't expected the proposal. It was a bit of a curveball, but it also made sense. Even if Zhou Yi had just given his father a black eye, and the spirit hall had just been completely humiliated, and, in the future, Zhou Yi would probably try to take them down with his new sect, and Bibi Dong, his prized student and a top genius with twin spirits, he didn't want her marrying Zhou Yi. My teacher seems reluctant. Can Zhou Yi really convince him? Bibi Dong's face turned red, her head practically buried in her chest, her heart pounding with nervousness, anticipation, and fear. This is the bride price. Zhou Yi pulled out a book, put it on the table, and pushed it towards Qian Xuanji and Qian Daoliu. Everyone craned their necks, curious about what kind of gift Zhou Yi would offer. They saw 3 bold characters on the cover. Yi Yang Manual. It was an elementary book that simplified the Yi Yang finger technique from the Book of Changes. Yi Yang finger is a fingering skill, however. It came with an associated internal energy cultivation method. The Yi Yang Manual simplifies concepts from the Book of Changes. This is. Qian Xuanji's eyes narrowed. He had an idea what it was, but he wasn't sure. This is a martial arts technique for cultivating martial arts qi. Soul masters can use it to increase their training speed. Zhou Yi smiled gently. I'm serious about this. I believe the Pope supports love and happiness. The truth was, Yang Gong was no better than any other average internal energy cultivation method. It wouldn't be hard for the spirit hall to obtain, so, Zhou Yi hoped to take advantage of a brief period of advantage to get himself a free saintess. Of course Qian Xuanji wasn't crazy about the match, but he was attracted by the prospect of gaining new martial arts secrets. He glanced at Bibi Dong and Qian Daoliu. Bibi Dong was blushing, clearly had a long-standing crush on Zhou Yi. That didn't surprise him. He already knew Bibi Dong had a crush on Zhou Yi. He'd never thought much of Zhou Yi. And later, when he found out that Zhou Yi married Liu Erlong, he breathed a sigh of relief. Qian Daoliu nodded subtly, indicating his approval. He was also curious about the secrets of martial arts. Even though he knew Yi Yang Manual wasn't as powerful as Zhou Yi's core techniques, they also knew that Zhou Yi wouldn't offer them the real deal. However, even so, they might gain some inspiration from it, helping them learn more about Zhou Yi's martial arts and find out how to beat him. A gentleman admires people who act with love. Since martial god Douluo is so sincere, how can I be uncharitable? Qian Xuanji smiled. I hope martial god Douluo will treat Donger well in the future. Don't worry, Pope. Afterward, Zhou Yi and Qian Xuanji discussed the wedding date, March 1st. The day he'd marry Bibi Dong.